Hi guys, my name is Deja. This is my first YouTube video. I'm making this YouTube video because I've been watching the Diddy Trial and I just haven't seen any of my favorite YouTubers talking about it, or just anybody in general that would pop up on my YouTube timeline because of the Diddy algorithm, just talking about this. So I wanted to talk about it because it is something that is point of interest for me, something near and dear to me, my connection with God and all of that, my faith. So I wanted to discuss how this Diddy Trial 2025, is a beautiful case study for us, spiritual, religious folks, on what it looks like to sell your soul. So the Diddy Trial, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, my conjecture, don't sue me. I'm not, a lawyer. I'm not a licensed whatever. I'm just a regular person giving my opinion on YouTube. So here we go. In my opinion, the Diddy Trial, one of the overarching themes of the Diddy Trial is selling your soul. What do I mean by that? In layman's terms. I have some notes over here, so I'm gonna keep looking down at my notes. When it comes to selling one's soul, people think of, satanic rituals and, candles, stars, and I pledge allegiance to whatever. That's their stuff. I rebuke it. I'm not that. I love God. But that's what we think of when we think of selling our soul. But what we see at the Diddy Trial is selling your soul is as easy as doing something that you really don't want to do in order to get somewhere you really want to go. Look at Cassie. Cassie wanted to be a mega star, super pop star. She wanted to be on levels of Beyonce and Rihanna and all these people. So, in order to do that, in order to, in her mind, secure that, she felt like she had to do these freak offs with Diddy in order to get that. And and what we see and what we hear in her testimony and others' testimonies that were kind of in her similar position is that this is an unattainable goal. This is just something, a carrot dangled in front of you so that you can keep doing what Diddy or whoever wants you to do, and that is selling your soul, compromising your integrity, doing something that you know is not right, that you feel in your body. That's important, that you feel in your body. Your body is your North Star. Your body is your moral compass. What you do in your body doesn't feel right. Your body will tell you. And that's our intuition as women. So, in my opinion, these people, and I don't mean to laugh, this is a serious situation, but this is my first YouTube video, so I'm kind of nervous. But from what I've gathered from the trial, from whether it be Cassie, Cassie's friend, the hairstylist, the bodyguards, well, I don't think a bodyguard testified yet, but just the stories about the bodyguards, and then on the stand now we have Jane Doe, and we had the Mia, just compromising who you are in order to gain something that you think you need or that you feel like you want. That's selling your soul. So a lot of these people unfortunately did sell their souls to Diddy in order to be financially rewarded, rewarded via status, I'm famous by association. This would be like any of the other staff outside of Cassie, like the hairstylist, or assistants and stuff like that. That proximity to his star power, his aura, all of this connections, the money, the wealth, whatever, that's what they sold their soul for, and that's unfortunate. But I think this is a beautiful, like I said, this is a beautiful case study for those of us who are, on our spiritual journey, who are trying to reclaim our individuality in Christ. This is a good case study to look at. My next point would be, don't be afraid to say no and stay true to yourself. That's something that I noticed a lot in the Diddy Trial. Nobody was telling this man no. Diddy is just a man. Yeah, power and access and bodyguards and brute force and guns and all that stuff. But you, as a person, I feel like you have to be brave enough to stick up for yourself. Like, yes, I know Cassie was getting beat and all these other people felt, you know, berated and that they couldn't speak up, but you have to be brave enough, especially in situations like this, because your silence allows the evil to thrive. So in this instance, I wish sooner somebody would have spoke up. And I always think about the example I was talking to, I believe I told my mom this example. I just thought about it. I may have just journaled about it, but I thought it was a really good example. Like, think about if when Michael Jackson found out that he had vitiligo, if in that instance he decided he was going to be the spokesperson for vitiligo, he was going to throw his success, his voice, his power, his money behind vitiligo research and getting the word out about it. Imagine how far advanced the technology and shit, you might even have, excuse me, you might even have a cure for vitiligo had Michael Jackson been brave enough in that instance to stand up and be like, you know what, yes, I have vitiligo, this is this and that type of skin condition, rally you know, with me to fight against this so other people don't have to suffer, like future generations don't have to suffer through, you know, being ostracized for this. So imagine if Cassie or anyone of, like, you know, the bodyguards that we would see on YouTube and even Jaguar, right? If you knew something disgusting was going on and people were being hurt and people were being exploited and, you know, just debauchery, just full-on debauchery was ensuing, you should have said something sooner. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to speak up against evil, against tyranny, against the worst of the worst. You need to be that voice because you can be the light switch to turn on other voices, to add on to the audience, to shine a light on something that needs to be brought to the public square. This is something that should be stopped. Nobody should be forced into, you know, sexual acts with random strangers. Then I was hearing on the stand, Jane Doe, she had to ask permission for a condom. Like, huh? Like, what? No. And you have to stand in that because your silence, your complicity just allows the evil to thrive. And this is how we get people like Diddy. And I've said this to my mom before. I know I said this to my mom because we were talking about the case. Diddy is not a one-off situation. There are many Diddys in Hollywood that we do not know about. There are many people, you know, of some type of wealth and status that feel like they could just use and abuse people because, hey, I'm a celebrity. Hey, I got such and such in the bank. Hey, I know Barack Obama. Or hey, I have this and this many Grammys. I could spit in your face and, hey, you want to check? You know, and this is something that needs to be put to an end. This is something that needs to be put to an end. So I'm grateful for this Diddy trial just to spotlight this, but I'm anxious to see the aftermath of this. Like, who's next on the chopping block? Who's coming out? Whose dirty laundry are we gonna see, you know, spread out? What else are we gonna hear? Like, how are these people suffering in the name of celebrity, in the name of, oh, he gave me $10,000 because I was with him for 15 days, but, you know, he also gave you a drug that made you trip out. He also made you sleep with men that you didn't want to sleep with, and, you know, you had to ask permission for condoms. So, like, I think that, yes, fame, success, money, all of these things are great. Like, you know, that this improves your quality of life. But when it comes in exchange for your integrity, in exchange for your self-esteem, in exchange for your bodily autonomy, it's not worth it. The sin is not ever, 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 ever worth it. And we learn that every single time. Those are the consequences of our actions. When we commit a sin, when we do this against our nature, when we go against God, that next step, that consequence, it's just basically because you knew this wasn't right. You knew it wasn't right. So Diddy must have been counting his days. He must have been counting his days, because you can't just go on like this forever and not think that some type of retribution is coming your way, whether it be in the physical or in the spiritual. Something, that balance has to be set. You know, we have the good and the bad. That balance has to be set. So let me see. Okay. And then this is going to be a short video because I don't know what I'm doing and I'm just talking, and hopefully I could get some feedback from you guys on other topics you like me to talk about. Just give my opinion. Once again, I'm not an expert on anything. I just talk my mess, and this whole time. This is a brand new shirt and I had this on this whole time. That's so messed up. But yeah, I got this shirt from God is Dope. Jesus Saves. I love that brand, but that's just a sidebar. One last thing that I would like to conclude with, like I said, I want this to be a short video. I'm gonna wrap it up. What I noticed in the Diddy trial was recruitment and acceptance of fate. So I forget what day of the trial it was, but Cassie's friend was testifying about being dangled. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It's been a long trial, but she was testifying about being dangled off a balcony by Diddy, and you know, thrown into some lawn furniture. She got her leg all messed up. She needed to wear a neck brace. She had a puncture wound in her leg, and she continued to be around Cassie doing drugs. Like, of course she was, you know, under the influence of drugs, so she wasn't in the best mental capacity. But I say that, in my opinion, Cassie was recruiting these people, whether it had been voluntarily or involuntarily. She was recruiting these people. She's like, look, this is what I'm going through. And you know, she may have not said this out loud, but they could see it. There were dozens of witnesses that saw Diddy kick her, slap her, punch her, berate her. She, in her acceptance of his behavior and allowing her family and friends to be around this, she was recruiting them into the debauchery. She was recruiting them into the chaos. And this is another example of how easily it is to fall into the devil's trap. The devil works through a lot of people, and I'm not saying this, I'm not, you know, trying to go and talk bad about Cassie or the other people involved. These are victims and I understand that, but I'm just talking about it from a spiritual perspective. The devil is a shapeshifter. He can be anybody and anything that he needs to be to further his agenda. So I believe, and this is just my opinion, this is just my conjecture, Cassie's willingness to be around Diddy and participate in these debauchery, the hotel nights, the freak offs for so long, and introduce other people into that lifestyle. What it wasn't the freak offs, but just introduce people into that lifestyle of sex, drugs, violence. That was recruitment into this demonic nature. There were people that didn't know about the freak offs necessarily, but they knew that Diddy and Cassie did drugs, and they did drugs with them, and they partied with them, and they knew that things weren't right because they saw how Cassie was, they saw how Diddy treated her, and they just was like, you know what? I'm here, I'm looking the other way. I want to be here. I want to be close to this. I want to do this. So this Diddy trial is very spiritual. It's very spiritual when you look at it. You just see how open we are to certain things, and how easily we can fall into temptation, and how hard it is to pick ourselves up out of that, and how, you know, we could just snatch other people into it unwillingly sometimes, like, you know, and then other times you're like, look, I'm being, you know, I don't want to be alone in this. This is hard. This is rough. This is, you know, I need a friend. Can you just be my friend? And yeah, we're doing messed up things, but at least we're together. And no. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to stay true to yourself. Don't be afraid to walk alone. Don't be afraid to tell these people no, and to leave those people that want to bring you down into the debauchery alone. If it comes at the cost of your integrity, it is too much. And my heart goes out to the victims of Diddy and his enterprise, and I just hope that they could find themselves and find some type of solace in whatever you know, religion or spirituality practices they hold to their hearts. That was just me babbling. Hopefully you guys liked it. I do want to make this a regular thing and just start talking about what I think, and follow this Diddy trial into the end. I'm really anxious to see what the jury is going to decide. This is the trial of the century. There are so many themes in this. I just spoke about two that I thought were very important. The selling your soul in layman's terms, and the recruitment into demonic practices. That's how easy it is. So give me your feedback, like the video, subscribe, let me know other things that you guys would like to talk about, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Deuce.